Today we're talking about strong families. I think you have already put the seeds in the ground of the things that make for strong relationships. But just to go further into it, and we'll go to both parties, to both Sarah and Matt. We'll start with you, Mrs. Fowley. Tell us one key strategy, one key nugget to building strong relationships.
Okay,
Like I said, we've talked about a lot. Submission is one of the things we've talked about. Acceptance, and thinking into the future and making sure this person you're with is going to be a valuable part of that future and all that. But for the practicality, for today, in recognition of how the world is today, tell us practical things that we can use to build, to strengthen our relationships.
Okay, so for married people, I have an acronym that I use, and it's FACES, FACES. F is forgiveness. There is no relationship that can thrive without forgiveness. Someone has said that marriage is the union of two great forgivers. If you are in someone's face every day, you are going to hurt each other. I'm going to have to make a decision that I'm going to forgive every day. Otherwise, that marriage will not last. And even if you're in a marriage, there'll be resentment, and you'll be in a marriage that is not exciting. And that is what my husband and I preach. If you're going to be in a marriage, make it exciting. Let it be an example to people. Don't let people not want to get married because of your relationship. So if there's something that needs to be done, do it. The A is acceptance. I truly began to enjoy my marriage in the way that I'm really enjoying it now when I accepted my husband. Because I used to, don't say that, don't do that, I just wanted him to be someone else, basically. But once I accepted that, you know what, this is how God created him, this is his personality, and I just have to work with that. I'm not saying that people should grandfather a bad attitude or something like that, but some things are fundamental that we need to know and not just worry about it and not try to make someone else. It frees people to love. It frees people when they can be themselves. C is commitment. To make a decision that I am in this for life. I'm not talking about when there's abuse. You're talking about this day and age. This day and age, things are happening. We don't want men to be beating up their wives or women to be beating up their husbands, and we're telling them to stay. No. If that is happening, something needs to be done. Yes, you don't want to leave the marriage, but something has to happen. Like some intervention has to happen. Don't just stay in there. But otherwise, a lot of people divorce on irreconcilable differences. I don't love him anymore. I don't like the way he does this. I don't like the way she does this. Those kinds of things are not serious enough for you to leave your marriage. So be committed and make sure that you don't have a plan B. The E is empathy, which is really humility. It takes humility to be in a marriage. Many times you have to say, I'm sorry, when you don't feel like it. Many times you have to do things when you don't feel like it. But when we remember that the Lord Jesus Christ, the Creator himself, came down to die for us and to be spat upon and to be disregarded and to be, disrespected, and he took it. So why wouldn't I be able to be humble, in this relationship? And then the S is spice up your marriage. So do things, do exciting things, still go on dates from time to time, have lunch together, go watch a movie. It doesn't have to be expensive. Just do something. Remember the things you did in courtship. Do it. Because in marriage, it's easy to get bored with each other, to drift apart, to not be connected. And so you have to actively spice up, do things exciting. Excite your husband, excite your wife. Think of surprises and just spice up your marriage. So,
wow. Faces. Thank you for sharing that with us. Wonderful. Share with us, sir, how do you strengthen your marriage? Now, before we go there, ma'am, would you say that the faces are also applicable in the dating stage?
Okay, I'm glad you mentioned the dating stage. Yes, they're applicable, but I think some things are even more important. I think it's important to be sure about your foundation, because if you build a house and the foundation is faulty, you may build it up to the 16th floor. It may last 1 year or two. At one point or another, it's going to come down crashing. It's going to collapse. So if you haven't gotten married, foundation is very important. And what foundation consists of values, faith. How do we align in these critical areas? Yes, be attracted to someone. My husband said he was attracted to me. I was attracted to him. There were men who wanted to have me that I didn't want them because I just didn't like how they looked. So is the first thing is that you like them. Agreed. But then you have to look deeper. I'll share just one example. One day when we were in college, my husband and I were riding a bike. Well, he was, a friend just at the time. We were riding a bike, and then we got in front of the student union building where a lot of students were, and his bike broke down. So then we got down, and he was like, Tinuke, you can go to the hostel and, let me deal with this because, you don't want to be hanging around this guy with a broken bike. And I was like, I just didn't think about it. I was like, we came here together. I have to be here to see, how we solve this. And he said, at that point, he made up his mind and said, wow, I think this girl is going to be my wife. Because she's thinking about, this is someone who is not ashamed to be with me, when I'm in trouble. This is someone that may be able to stay with me through. So those are the kinds of things we talk about when we talk about values. It's not just physical, because something may happen to this physical. The beauty may fade. Somebody may get burnt and, look like something else. But those core things. So if you're not married, yes, the faces are good, which I said, but more importantly, be sure that the person you are hooking with has the same values that you appreciate, because those will stand the test of time. And be authentic, please. Don't pretend. I know a lady, we all said, oh, she's a tomboy. Will she ever get married? She got married. Somebody appreciated her for who she was, as tomboyish and rough and, as she was. And they've been married for decades. So be yourself. The person who is ready to have you will come. So you are not treading on eggshell and trying to be who you are not.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, sir.
So you asked for 1 point and my wife gave you faces.
So, one acronym, one word.
Acronym, she dealt with acronym. But that's a good one. Because we learned through this together. And I want to appreciate God in a very special way also for being with us. And the fact that we share the same faith and we have the same value system has been very, very key for us. Because I could remember a few years into our marriage, things were very difficult. Because I don't want to come in here to appear like everything was just
I appreciate that.
And rosy right from the beginning. Because we were faced with challenges. We moved from our comfort zone in Nigeria. We came to the United States, and there were a lot of challenges of money. And we were going to keep visa status. We came in as visitors here, and we had to go back. We had to go to school quickly, and so we had to keep our status. So those days, and they were very tumultuous in terms of our relationship. Because like she was saying, that she had a sense of who I should be. At the same time, I want to be very authentic, because that's what is going to stand the test of years. I don't know, I didn't have anyone to run to, so I was a little more guarded with spending. I was, because I didn't want to be thrown out, whereas my wife was a little liberal with spending, and that was a big problem for us. But we quickly realized that we had to do things about it. So one of the things that we started doing was to invest in an annual marriage retreat where we join with other couples, and we've been doing this maybe for about 19 years now, about 19 years uninterruptedly. Every year we are to go in for this marriage retreat, and that has really revolutionized our marriage from mediocrity to heavenly, the way we are enjoying it, because we learn tools every day that we put to practice. We see that we're not alone in whatever difficulty we are facing, especially when you are with a group of people and you hear them sharing similar stories and how they have overcome. And so we also graduated from there to a monthly marriage enrichment group. We have a group here in Atlanta area that we come together every month, and we are actually celebrating 10 years of existence.
Yes.
Month after month, we come together as a support group to share all these things. And these are things that you put in place, you invest in it your marriage is worth it. And if someone will ask me in terms of decision making, how I will, what level I will put marriage, I will put the decision to get married should be number one, because the person you get married to will either be the one to help you build you up or to really destroy you. And so at that critical moment, that decision making is so very, very important. And that is why I continue to thank God every day for the way He led me. I believe that it was a divine purpose, divine connection that God did. In actual fact, it was divine that we came together, and the Lord has been keeping us. Also, because we learn these tools every day, and we are accountable unto each other as we are accountable individually unto God. We are accountable unto each other. We are prayer partners. We are best of friends. We kneel down, we pray every day. And these are core values that we put in place so that our marriage could be what the Lord wants it to be, a beauty, and one that will make Christ attractive.
Super powerful. Super powerful. One thing I want to ask you, I want you to imagine a couple out there. Like you said, you guys got to a stage where it was a little difficult. You were at a crossroads. You had to figure things out. And so I want us to think of such a couple today that's at a crossroads, that are in a place where they need to figure things out. They're actually thinking maybe we need to go our separate ways, but they have not gone their separate ways. But they're also thinking perhaps we should stay together, but they feel like staying together is going to continue living in hell with each other. Can you speak to such a couple today, please? Can you speak to them as, what you want them to think about, what you think could help them, so that for the benefit of their children, for the benefit of the community, if possible, they can continue to live and grow in peace?
Yes, thank you. I think my wife will also share from our point of view. From my vantage point, it's very, very important. Even as a physician myself, we know that there are a lot of diseases, some illnesses that you have to seek help for. The same thing goes with relationship. And sometimes we don't even think about it that way. We just allow our relationship to just wither away without giving it the fight that it requires. Even in mental health, quite a number of people, because of cultural reasons, traditional reasons, when someone has a breakdown of getting sad, depressed, and things like that, they don't seek help because of the stigma to it. But that does not remove the fact that you are suffering from some ill health. The same thing in marriage. A lot of people think that they are very private and they don't want to let anybody know exactly what is going on. To those people, I want to tell you that there is hope. There is hope because there are folks out there that are coaches in relationship. And those are the kind of things that we did not really engage ourselves in, that we don't avail ourselves in. There are people who have written books, who are clinical psychologists, Christian clinical psychologists, who are well trained in all these maladies of relationship. And so for us not to seek help of these people, we're doing ourselves a lot of disservice, because if we have headache and the headache will not disappear, we know that we need to get help. So if we are having relational ill health, I will say it is incumbent on us to want to reverse this, because it is actually reversible, and quickly so if we seek the needed help. So I'm praying that people will not get to the point where they say that they have irreconcilable differences, because that is usually the end point, because there is no differences that are not reconcilable. In fact, that is the reason why we are in this relationship. That is the reason why God instituted the marriage, because in marriage, you are going to offend each other, and you have to keep forgiving over and over. But for you not to get to the point of resenting your partner, you have to put those things that we have talked about in place. But Just say that you have gone past that stage. Then you need to seek the help of professionals. We need to seek the help of those who are well trained, Christians who have the same value system, and in addition, maybe those who have the similar background as you, that you can bring this subject matter to seek for help. And I will just turn this over to my wife, and she can add a few more.
Yeah, because my husband has said mostly everything. I'll just say don't quit, don't give up. When there is life, there is hope. And the fact that you leave your spouse doesn't really mean that your life is going to be better out there. Think about how you began. And even if the beginning was faulty, think about the life that you've built. Think about the children you have. Think about everything that you've done together. I'm not saying remain in misery. I'm just saying, like my husband said, do something about it. If it's so serious that you are not hearing each other anymore, then seek, marriage coaches that can help you. My husband and I do marriage coaching, just to help couples along. If that is not sufficient, you may need to see a therapist or a counselor. Just do something. Don't just give up. It almost makes us want to cry when we come across couples who say they are going to divorce. And then we ask the question, did you ever seek counseling? And they say no. And I'm like, how can you? If you are diagnosed with cancer, are you going to sit there and wait for death? And then death comes, you're going to try and do something. You're going to see the doctor. The same thing. If we know that marriage is so important, especially if we have other lives involved, like our children, then we know that we should not get to the point of saying I'm divorcing without exhausting all the resources we have. And I'll also tell them that just because you see couples around and they appear to be happy, doesn't mean they don't have challenges. Like my husband said, we had our own challenges, and the challenges may have led some people to divorce, but we thank God that we got to know about, annual marriage retreat, and it really changed our marriage because our eyes were open to what we were doing wrong, to what we could do better, to the tools and strategies that we could actually use. So don't let's think that there's nothing like marriage counseling, there's nothing like marriage coaches. People actually have tools that when you begin to use, actually transform your marriage. So don't give up. Do that for your marriage. Do something. Don't give up until you have done something. And be ready to be teachable. That's very important. That's another thing that could have added to faces. I just didn't know how to put the T acronym as part of the acronym, honestly. Be teachable. Being ready to put into practice what you learn, because you could do all the counseling and come home and still say, I'm not going to do it. Look inward. In a relationship that's breaking down, everyone has a part to play. Nobody is an angel. You could have done something differently. Each of you, not just one person. That's another thing I would like to tell them. You can say to everybody, oh, my husband is evil. You can say my wife is the devil. No, there's something that you have contributed in one way or another. So be ready to take responsibility, be ready to be teachable, be ready to get help, and be ready to put into practice what it is, and your marriage can survive and it can thrive.
Amen.
Amen.
Fantastic. Before we go, a closing statement on love and marriage. Just your belief, what you want the world to know regarding love and marriage in one statement each. The first person can go.
Well, my wife said it earlier. That is one thing that we decided. If you are going to be in it, enjoy it and invest in it. The yield is tremendous.
Thank you, sir.
Marriage is wonderful, it's beautiful, but it requires hard work. But who has a business that he wants the business to be successful, that doesn't put in the hours, that doesn't put in the effort? The same thing with your marriage. Your marriage is a garden. If your marriage garden is going to grow and be beautiful, then you need to weed, you need to work on it, you need to put on your gloves and take out the weeds and just make it beautiful. So work on your marriage, do whatever it takes, and you will have a beautiful marriage.
Dr. and Mrs. TED speaker, Mrs. Fawale, it has just been awesome, fantastic having you guys with us today. Thank you very much for everything you've shared with us. We just totally, totally appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks for the work you do. You are making impact. God bless you.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate you. When I grow up, I want to be like you. Now, I cannot stop clapping for them. That was a phenomenal interview. For my love and marriage hopefuls, so many nuggets, you know? Be authentically yourself. It doesn't matter what the person coming to you is looking for or is after. Be authentically yourself. Those that want to be with you, those that value you, will appreciate the authenticity of who you are and will continue with you, because it is that authenticity that is you that's going to carry you through that relationship. And for those in marriages as well, remain authentically yourselves. Don't change for anybody, because there cannot be two of anybody. There's only one of you. So just remain authentically yourselves. Married, single, respect is key. Respect your partner. Give respect to the man, give respect to the woman, and together you will build a strong marriage. This has been an awesome session, and I thank you for being here with us today. Now, if you have not subscribed, go on ahead and do that. And as you subscribe, go on ahead as well and share to your friends and to your families, because above all else, we want to strengthen every marriage and build successful relationships. Until I see you again next month and beyond, the good Lord bless and keep us all.